Hello. This is the Bible in Fewer Words. We are Carol and Steve Wells. This is episode 269, the Gospel of John, chapters 20 and 21. Hi, Steve.
Hi, Carol. This is the end of the Gospel of John.
This is the end.
If we can get through it.
Okay, so we need to just start then, if we're thinking it might be a little long today.
I think so, although in the last episode, Jesus died and they put his body in a sepulcher.
All right, chapter 20. Early in the morning on the first day of the week, while it was still dark, Mary Magdalene came to the sepulcher and saw that the stone had been removed.
She ran to tell Peter and the disciple whom Jesus loved, and said to them, "They've taken the Lord away from the sepulcher, and we don't know where they've put him."
So Peter and the other disciple raced to the sepulcher. The other disciple got there first and saw his linen clothes and the napkin that was on his head. Then they went home.
But what's interesting here is they saw his clothes and the napkin.
Uh-huh.
So Jesus is gone and he didn't take his clothes with him.
Yeah, maybe when he gets beamed up, it can't take, garments.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know why not, but Mary, this is Mary Magdalene, looked into the sepulchre and saw two angels dressed in white, sitting where the body of Jesus had been. So it sounds like she returned to their sepulchre because she ran away and told the guys, and then I guess she went back.
Okay. Because what else are you going to do the day after or 2 days after Jesus died? I mean, it's probably preoccupying her mind. Like, what the heck? Where is he? He's not there.
Yeah, I guess so. Anyway, she went back and she saw these two angels dressed in white, sitting where the body had been.
Oh. They said to her, "Woman, why are you crying?"
She answered, "Because I don't know where they took my Lord."
Then she turned and saw Jesus standing there, but she didn't recognize him. Okay, what's that about? How would you not recognize him?
Because he's in disguise.
He doesn't have any clothes on.
But it happens a lot. It happened in the Gospel of Luke on the road to Emmaus, right? Mm-hmm. And it happens here. And it's going to happen again later on. He's hard to recognize. He looks different. The risen Jesus looks different than just the regular Jesus did, I guess.
But he still has a hole on his side and nail holes in his arms, right?
I think so.
Jesus said to her, "Woman, why are you crying? Who are you looking for?"
She answered, thinking it was the gardener, "Sir, if you've taken him, tell me where you put him."
Jesus said to her, "Mary." She said to him, "Master."
Jesus said, "Don't touch me because I haven't ascended to my Father. But go tell my brothers that I say to them, I ascend to my Father and your Father, to my God and your God."
That's a lot of messages she's got to deliver.
Pretty much it's just, I'm going to go to heaven, I guess.
Uh-huh.
But he says, don't touch me because I haven't yet ascended, which is kind of strange. He's untouchable, I guess, because he hasn't yet gone to heaven, or at least he can't be touched by a woman.
That's more likely.
I think so. If he's touched by a woman, that's going to mess things up.
Uh-huh.
He might not be able to ascend to his Father, I guess.
Uh-huh. That could be. So she told the disciples that she had seen Jesus and that he said these things to her.
That evening, while the disciples were hiding from the Jews in a locked room, Jesus came and stood in the middle of them and said, "Peace be with you."
Why are they in a locked room?
Because they're afraid of the Jews.
Are they Jews? Not anymore.
Okay. In the Gospel of John, the world is divided into Jews and non-Jews. I mean, they're all Jews, right?
Yep.
Pretty much everybody here is Jews except for Pilate and, the Romans.
Mm-hmm.
But because the Jews rejected Jesus, they told Pilate to crucify him, right?
Yep.
And so they're called the Jews.
Yes.
And they're kind of called that in a derogatory way.
Yeah.
Anyway, they're worried that the Jews are going to kill them because they killed Jesus, right?
The apostles, they're worried that the Jews are going to kill them because the Jews killed Jesus.
Yeah. So they might kill his followers. They all scattered because they were worried. When Jesus got arrested, everybody scattered, right?
Because they were with him. I mean, they're his buddies.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Got it. They're in a locked room, and Jesus makes his way in there.
I guess he just appears, right, magically, because he didn't have a key to the door. It was locked.
Yeah.
You just got in.
And so he said, "Peace be with you." Then he showed them his hands and his side, and they were glad. Like, that was the evidence. Okay, this is him, right?
I don't know why you'd be glad, but I guess they were glad because maybe they recognized him then.
Uh-huh. And
Yeah.
he's alive.
Yep. Jesus breathed on them and said, "Receive the Holy Ghost. If you forgive someone's sins, they're forgiven. If you don't forgive them, they're not forgiven." So this is how the sacrament of confession happened, right?
Yeah.
In the Catholic Church, priests can forgive sins in the sacrament of confession. So it's kind of how it all started.
So nobody else does that.
No. I don't think they really refer to this passage very much, but Catholics do.
Okay. Thomas wasn't with them when Jesus visited. The other disciples said to him, "We've seen the Lord." But he said to them, "Until I see the nail wounds on his hands and put my finger in them and thrust my hand into his side, I won't believe."
8 days later, the disciples were again in a locked room. This time, Thomas was with them. Jesus appeared and stood in the middle of them. He said to Thomas, "Put your finger in my nail wounds and shove your hand into my side. Don't be faithless anymore, but believe."
Thomas said, "My Lord and my God." And Jesus said, "Thomas, because you've seen me, you believe. Blessed are those who haven't seen and yet believe."
Yeah, this "my Lord and my God" thing is a sort of controversial thing among Christians, because some Christians don't believe that Jesus is God.
Oh, like who?
Well, Jehovah's Witnesses, for example. But there are others that don't believe that he's God. But here he's just saying flat out, "My Lord and my God."
Jesus did many other signs which aren't recorded in this book.
These things have been written to help you believe that Jesus is the Son of God, and so you'll live through his name.
This is all here so that we become believers.
You're right. But what is interesting here, doesn't it kind of sound like this is the end? These things have been written so that you can believe.
Yeah, it does.
But now we have another chapter.
Oh.
That's the end of chapter 20. A lot of scholars believe that was the original ending of the Gospel of John. And then when we get to chapter 21, it's written in a different style. It sounds like it was written by a different author. People think it probably was.
All right.
Added later.
Well, let's see about that. Chapter 21. After these things, Jesus appeared to his disciples on the Sea of Tiberias.
Yeah, the Sea of Tiberias is the Sea of Galilee. So before, all these things that were happening in the previous chapter were in Jerusalem.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
That's where the trial was. That's where he died. That's where...
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Now, all of a sudden, in chapter 21, they're back in the Sea of Galilee.
Let's take a little field trip, guys. Let's go to Galilee and do some fishing.
Well, I guess that's where they were from. You know, Peter and most of the disciples were from Galilee.
But isn't Jesus supposed to kind of rise and go away? Like, when does he do that?
Yeah, that's a good point.
I guess he's just saying, I've got a couple weeks here. Let's go to Galilee. Peter said to Thomas, Nathanael, and the sons of Zebedee, and 2 other disciples, "I'm going fishing." They said, "We'll go with you."
So they got in a boat and went fishing. But after fishing all night, they didn't catch a thing.
In the morning, Jesus stood on the shore. But guess what? They didn't recognize him.
Jesus called out to them, saying, "Hey, children, do you have any meat?"
And they said to him, "No."
Jesus said, "Cast your net on the right side, and you'll catch fish."
Why didn't Jesus just put the fish on the left side where they were?
There's probably some significance to the right side. You know, God's right-handed.
Oh, that's
you know,
right.
sit on my right hand and all that. Yeah.
The disciple whom Jesus loved said to Peter, "It's the Lord." When Peter heard him say that, he put on his coat and jumped into the water. Oh, because he was naked.
Yeah, Peter was fishing naked with the other guys.
Uh-huh.
And he was embarrassed. And when he heard out that was Jesus, so he jumped in the water.
And put his coat on.
I don't know why you put your coat on when you jump in the water. Just in case that I have to come out, then I won't be naked anymore.
Yeah, that could be.
Yeah.
The other disciples came in another boat and helped them bring in all the fish. When they got to shore, they saw a fire cooking fish and bread.
Jesus said, "Bring the fish that you caught." Peter brought them over. There were a total of 153 big fish in the net.
That's a very specific number.
Yeah, people have been trying to figure out what the significance to that, right?
Yeah.
153. I think there's a couple of places in the Bible where there was 153,000 of this or that, but it doesn't seem to have any significance that anyone really can figure out. But I've got a link to a Wikipedia article where there are all the various theories about what this might refer to.
Okay.
Jesus said, "Come and eat." But none of the disciples asked him, "Who are you?" Since they knew he was Jesus.
It clicked in their brain. Oh, yeah, it's Jesus. After they ate, Jesus said to Peter, "Simon, son of Jonas, do you love me more than the others?"
Peter said, "Yes, Lord. You know that I love you."
Okay, that's a weird thing to ask anybody.
Yeah, it is.
It's like a child asking a mother, "Am I your favorite?"
Well, yeah. It does happen, though, occasionally. It happened in Fiddler on the Roof.
Oh, did
Do
it?
you love me?
Did he sing that to his wife?
Well, yeah, but people do ask that question sometimes.
Jesus said, "Feed my lambs." Again, Jesus said to Peter, "Simon, son of Jonas, do you love me?"
Peter said, "Yes, Lord. You know that I love you."
Jesus said, "Feed my sheep."
A third time, Jesus said to Peter, "Simon, son of Jonas, do you love me?"
Peter, who was sad that he asked the same thing 3 times, said, "Yes, Lord, you know everything, so you know I love you."
Jesus said, "Feed my sheep." So
So,
this feeding his sheep thing,
uh-huh.
this is to emphasize that Peter is going to be the leader of the apostles. He's going to be the first pope. Feed his sheep, that's take care of his flock, take care of all of the people who follow him, all the Christians.
Mm-hmm.
And so Catholics like to look at this and say, you see
That's
what we're
why
talking
he was
about?
Pope. Yeah.
Yeah.
But Peter's kind of sad about it. "Don't you know that I do?"
I think he's
what are
feeling
you
bad. You keep
saying?
asking me if I love you. You know that I love you, you know?
Yeah.
So he was a little annoyed, I think.
Yeah.
Whoever wrote this was trying to make a point.
Okay.
Jesus is saying Peter is the leader of the Christians.
So Peter asked Jesus about the disciple whom Jesus loved, the one who leaned on Jesus' breast at supper, saying, "What will this man do?"
Jesus said, "If he lives until I come back, what's that to you?"
That's a weird phrase. Like, are you going to be jealous of him? Or that's what he's
It's
asking.
kind of explained in parentheses in the next verse.
Okay. I'll wait then. Some people were saying that this disciple would never die. But Jesus didn't say to Peter that the disciple wouldn't die, but that if he is still living when he comes back, what is that to him?
See, that's all explained. That's all clear enough, right?
It's not clear enough.
This is another reason why people think it's a later edition, because there was a belief, it was going around, that the disciple whom Jesus loved was going to live until Jesus came back, his second coming.
Uh-huh.
Right? When Jesus returns, he'll still be alive. Well, apparently he died, and people would say, "Hey, what's up?"
Yeah.
He was supposed to live until the second coming, right?
Yes.
And he didn't. And so they're saying, well, yeah, he said that, but that's not exactly what he meant. That's not what he meant.
All right, so the second coming is like the end of the world.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Jesus doesn't talk a lot about that in the Gospel of John. He talks about it in the other Gospels in quite a bit of detail, right? All the things that are going to happen. There's going to be wars and
Yes.
all that, and then Jesus is going to come.
Yeah.
So people were wondering, because this disciple had died, then they're saying, well, he didn't actually say that. He just said, well, what's that to you if he does? See,
Yes.
if he does, what's that to you?
I know, that's a weird turn of phrase. What's that to you?
Well,
You shouldn't care about that. That's what kind of...
Well,
Doesn't you think
yeah.
that means that?
so I'll read it in the King James.
Okay, it'll be clearer, I'm sure.
Then went this saying abroad among the brethren, that disciple should not die. Jesus said not unto him, he shall not die, but if I will that he tarry till I come, what is that to thee?
Oh, yeah, that's clearer.
I thought that would help.
This is the disciple who talked and wrote these things. And we know what he said is true. So this, like me,
He's claiming to be the disciple whom Jesus loved.
Oh, John.
Now, this is the disciple. This is the guy who talked and wrote these things. The this here, I think, refers to the disciple who people were saying would never die.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess he's saying, well, I'm still here.
Yeah. Jesus did many other things, which, if they were written in books, would fill the entire earth.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a lot.
Uh-huh. And this is the exciting ending to the Gospel of John.
It is very exciting.
Yeah.
A cliffhanger.
It kind of is, because we still don't have Jesus ascending, do we?
No.
He's just eating fish with these guys,
Yes,
right?
he
Is that right? They
Yeah.
went fishing, they caught all the fish,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the way
That's
it is. He doesn't ascend to heaven.
No. Hey, Steve. Thank you so much for helping us get through these Gospels. It was not always easy, but we pulled through and did it.
Yeah, I think that our podcast lives will be a lot easier from here on.
Okay, well, thanks, Steve.
Sure.
And listeners, thanks for staying with us. Next time we'll be at episode 270.
Yeah, that's right. We're going to be in the book of Acts,
Oh.
which is was written by one of the gospel writers.
Oh, no.
It's a sequel to the Gospel of Luke.
Okay. Well, I'm looking forward to it.
Okay.
All right. Bye-bye, folks.
Bye.